Hello viewers, you are watching International Wild. Kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notification of the latest uploaded videos.
If you look at the current attack in Bajaur's targeted workers convention, it points to ISKP's growing footprint in the exporter, written particularly in Bajaur's. Now Bajaur's shares border with colon, and notice that where ISKP was based, but since the Taliban have been doing a crackdown against the group, so the fighters of ISKP have been gradually relocating to these areas, particularly major Hybridian CD variant, and they have been live at all, so we were seeing isolated incidents of targeted assassinations of JUI-F leaders and other targets as well by ISKP, but because these were isolated in low-intensity incidents, so no one paid an attention central ISKP's footprint. But yesterday's attack is a rude awakening call because it points to increasing operational capabilities of the group. So if a suicide bomber walked in with 12 to 15 kilograms of explosive and is able to target a big political reading, not only it points to increasing capabilities of the group, but it also points to a huge security lapse and failures on the part of the security institution. Number 1, every terrorist attack is an intelligence failure, so the question is why that's the threat alert was not issued. If it was not issued, then it means that there are gaps in our counter-terrorism intelligence. Number 2, why the secure in a high-risk security zone, why those protocols were not implemented, such as walk-through gates, while they were not installed, while particular places were not identified which were relatively secure for political gatherings and other such events. And at the end of the day, one question remains, that if this is what our security preparation is, then how we are going to go into elections, because the political rallies are not safe. It will mean a low voter turnout and a dull election campaigns by the political parties. So it has come at a time when the Chinese vice premier is here. It has come at a time when the government is about to go and election season is about to begin. So there is a lot of unpack here, but it's a human tragedy. So my heart goes out to the families of the victims. There is an urgent need to immediately relook into what our security protocols are. Where are the gaps? Those gaps should be plugged. Portrait. So, generally the vacuum is an overall vacuum because these groups do not operate in silos, they operate in close vicinity to each other, at times at the very low level, at the fighter level. The things are so fluid that side switching, that is one fighter jumping from one group to another, or fighters or militant having multiple memberships of group, is commonplace. They operate in a closed facility, so any intelligent careful ISTP means that our intelligence gaps even on TTP are equally dominant. So what is required is a refocus on counterterrorism intelligence, and wherever there are gaps in actionable intelligence, those gaps should be filled, because every terrorist attack is a security and intelligence failure. Each terrorist attack has 7 distinct stages, starting from recruitment, training and plotting the attack, identifying the targets, preparing for the targets, explosive others, then logistics, and then execution, and then all 7 stages. A terrorist attacks can be averted, particularly given the fact that KP is our front line in this new phase of our own terror. If this is how we are doing in KP, then our gaps towards mainland will be even bigger. It's a cause of worry, and it requires immediate attention. Taliban are two sides of the same coin. They are ideological brethren. They have lived together. They have put together. TTP pledges its sorts of allegiance to the Taliban chief leader, supreme leader. TTP celebrated Taliban's victory as its own. It issued a huge statement calling it as their victory. They have fought against the Americans together. TTP, so there are deep-seated ideological, political, ethnic, geographic linkages, and it is unimaginable to separate them. ISKP and TTP have this equation of coexistence. Ideologically they differ, but TTP doesn't open up front against ISKP for its own reason. Taliban on the other hand have ruthlessly got after ISKP, but within ISKP and Taliban, because these movements are so decentralized, there is this notion that certain elements of the Haqqani network were accommodating ISKP in some areas, but one doesn't get a credible evidence of this in this assertion. It's as a result of these nexuses, your tribal trees and Khmer arteries. Since the Taliban's takeover, there is a complicated and a very complex picture emerging, where there is a major regrouping going on, and these groups are benefiting from the weak writ of the states, both in Pakistan, its periphery, Northwestern Territory as well as Afghanistan. So what is required is a new security paradigm which takes into account the new nuances of how mergers, alliances as well as rivalries are evolving, and once we understand the threat picture in a more nonsense manner, then we will know what kind of kinetic and non-kinetic actions we can take against this group. As of now we are operating in the whole security paradigm where we are caught in the binary of peace talks and kinetic operation. These are the two options available to us. Both have their serious limitation in the current context, so we have to be more imaginative, and for that we need to have better understanding of how the current threat landscape looks like. So, in other words, we need to remark the threat landscape, and once we understand how the new landscape looks like, its complexities, rivalries, mergers and alliances of the groups, and what do they represent, then we will be in a better position to know what kind of actions we can take or cannot take against these groups. Thank you.